Well, the Taliban have been making rapid gains across Afghanistan as city after city falls to the Taliban. In fact, right now it has the outskirts of Kabul, having encircled the capital city. The Taliban spokesperson has been quoted as saying that they will not be entering the city by force and that the fighters will wait at the gates. The Taliban has also said they will await a peaceful transfer of the capital city. Remember, there are negotiations underway at the presidential palace for a peaceful transition of power. Now, the Taliban are, of course, at the outskirts of Kabul, but they've already taken over city after city in alarmingly quick succession. Mazar-e-Sharif, the fourth largest city in the country, Jalalabad, the city bordering Pakistan, along with Khost, Maidan Wardak and Kalat have all been captured by the Taliban. In fact, 25 provincial capitals have also come to the Taliban. Afghanistan officials have even surrendered one of the country's biggest air bases to the outfit. The Kabul International Airport stays busy due to the frenzied departure of citizens. International news agencies' reports say that as per a Taliban spokesperson, they have said foreigners in Kabul have to leave or to register the presence with Taliban administrators. Okay, Professor Harsh Pant, Director of the Studies and Head Strategic of Studies Program of ORF, joins us this evening. Harsh, good evening to you. Thank you so much for speaking to Mirror Now. Of course, it is an evolving situation in Afghanistan right now, and even as we speak, talks are underway at the presidential palace for a peaceful transition of power. Now, what is unclear is what that transitional government will be like. Talks are also underway in Doha. Now, what outcome do you think is realistically possible from the Doha talks? And is it naive to believe that the Taliban is capable or going to be any different from what they were earlier?
Hi, thank you, Aarti, for having me. I think it would be really foolish for us to expect anything different because we have seen, we were being sold a story for a last few years now that Taliban have evolved, that this is a new Taliban, that they are willing to negotiate, and that ultimately they are willing to sit down at the negotiating table and reach a political settlement. Now, none of those assumptions have borne fruit. We have looked over the last few months and weeks, in fact, if you see the conduct of the Taliban, you see the same old Taliban. They're as brutal, as medieval in their ideology, and as ruthless when it comes to their political ideological ambitions, I would say, as they were in the 1990s. So this bunch has not changed. Now, I think there is certain amount of pressure that is going to come to them from Middle Eastern countries and others to have some kind of a settlement. But I think it would be too much to expect them to abide by those commitments and to give due space to the other political stakeholders. That eventually is the only way in which you can have a stable political order in Afghanistan. So I would think that while one can expect some kind of political reconciliation over the next day or two, the long-term prospects look extremely bleak.
Well, Harsh, now that, India has been completely edged out of those talks in Doha. We see ourselves as a stakeholder in Afghanistan. We see ourselves as a stakeholder in Afghanistan's future. But what does it mean in terms of strategy for us? What is the possible role for India in this region, given as it is that Taliban have made it abundantly clear that they don't want India to play any hand in Afghanistan's future?
Yes, I think India's role has been going back and forth, and we have had our preferences very clear in some ways that we preferred the non-Taliban dispensation to the Taliban dispensation. But I think ultimately the question is who is going to recognize this government and under what conditions will India recognize a Taliban government? I think those conditions are not being fulfilled at the moment. If Taliban is not changing, if Taliban is not moving towards a political reconciliation process that India and several other countries want, then it would be very difficult for India to even have those basic negotiations with the Taliban. So the question, therefore, is that I think a lot of it would depend on the conduct of the Taliban itself. So far, the territories that they have occupied, they have not shown a great degree of evolution. They have not shown that they are capable of transforming themselves. So I think India will remain very wary of where these negotiations are going. And India will wait and watch and see if ultimately this is a regime that is worth recognizing. Because I think India one thing we also should recognize is that India of 2021 is not the India of 1990s. We can live with the Taliban regime in Kabul so long as they are not hurting our interests. And if those interests are hurt, then we should have the capacity to inflict damage on the regime.
But Harsh is also... Sorry, yes, please go ahead.
No, I was just saying that so long as that basic premise is clear to the Taliban, I think we can reach a basic understanding that we don't recognize them and they don't challenge us.
But Harsh, is also the role of Pakistan, which is obviously going to be emboldened by the fact that they are now going to have greater leverage with the US. They're going to have greater leverage with other world powers to have a say in the region.
Yes, to a certain extent. But I think, look, Americans have moved out of Afghanistan. So I think the leverage that Pakistan perhaps will now have with the Americans will be twofold. One, I think there is going to be a great debate in America about the role of Pakistan once again, because this is a big debacle for the US, for the Biden administration. Now, therefore, a lot of the fingers, if you see American media today and American intelligentsia today, there is a lot of support for sanctioning of Pakistan for the way this has unfolded. Now, of course, that is unlikely to happen. But I think the challenge there is that I think Pakistan has lost a lot of space in the American body politic, and it's not entirely evident that they can regain it. So I don't think they will have that kind of a leverage that they had at one point. But certainly now, as this crisis unfolds, they will present themselves once again as the savior out of this crisis, and there they might once again promise that, look, we have the ability to deliver you from this crisis, and we are the ones that can bring Taliban and other political stakeholders to the table. So in the short term, certainly they may get some leverage, but I don't think that leverage is going to be very long-lasting.
And it also depends on whether or not the Joe Biden administration is actually going to lean on or, really trust Pakistan, but they do seem a bit out of step with reality, because just a month ago when Biden was asked whether he felt that a Taliban takeover was inevitable, he emphatically said no. Are you surprised that America miscalculated the situation so spectacularly?
I am surprised, and I think a lot of the world is surprised, because while everyone knew that America wants to leave, that there is a consensus in the American body politic to leave Afghanistan as soon as possible, no one was ready for this kind of frantic, removal of American forces the way Biden did. Because you may recall when Biden had come to office, the first letter that Secretary of State Blinken had sent to the Ghani government, it laid out a certain process. It said, as we withdraw the forces, we expect the political reconciliation process, peace process to move forward, and we will help in that process. What they did, on the other hand, on the ground, suddenly one fine day, Mr. Biden got up and he said, we are withdrawing by September 11th. And that was the end. America managed to give Taliban a new set of momentum, which is what is resulting today. So I think America, and this Mr. Biden did, by the way, despite all the advice to the contrary that he was getting from his generals. So I think he's in for big political trouble politically in America, because this is going to be his signature achievement of the first 6 months in office, and this is not going to go down well with the larger public in many ways, because I think the symbolism of American departure is very similar to the Vietnamese surrender in Vietnam, and I think those are the kind of images that political leaders don't want to be associated with. So I think Mr. Biden is in for a lot of trouble domestically. But what I think American intelligence and American State Department has to think is, how did they get it so wrong in terms of their basic assessment? Even till 2 days back, they were saying that Taliban may capture Kabul in 30 days. And Taliban has captured Kabul today. So in a matter of 2 days. So I think they have been all over the place. Their assessments have been all wrong. And perhaps they, in some ways, they have not been driven by a more realistic understanding of what was happening on the ground and of their own ability to shape things on the ground.
Yeah, well, you mentioned the symbolism. Of course, the visuals of the chopper above the US embassy is definitely going to bring back visuals of a similar evacuation from Saigaon. Harsh, thank you so much for speaking to Mirror Now. Really appreciate you taking time out. Let's bring you another update from Afghanistan, where Kalat has become the 25th provincial capital to fall to Taliban. 25 of Afghanistan's 34 provincial capitals are now held by the Taliban. The capital of Kabul is the only city with a population of more than 100,000 that is still held by the government, but perhaps not going to be held for too long, as negotiations are currently underway in the presidential office for a peaceful transition of power. And of course, the global community is keeping track of the fast-paced developments in Afghanistan. Russia has said that an emergency UN Security Council meeting on Afghanistan is planned, but perhaps one can't help but wonder if it is too little, too late. An emergency UN Security Council meeting is planned, says officials from Russia.